Shalom, Nawathan Ka halalyam la Yahawah, bahasham Yahawashi, bahasham Racha Kodash. That meaning peace. All praises to the Most High, whose name is Yahawah, in the name of his only begotten Son Yahawashi. Double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that rule well and labor in the word and doctrine. Shalom, meaning peace. May that be unto the elect. So we're coming with another MOTB /Charagma update. So you're going to see a lot of articles. Damn near all the articles on this are an advert, in and around. Won't tell you straight up this is an advert. We think this is good. They'll try pushing the so-called bad, or we know it to be bad, but the so-called negative sides and try and persuade you otherwise. And that's what you do in marketing, right? When you're pushing out a product, you try to think of any customer objections and you try to address that in your description. So that's exactly what they're doing, right? So all these articles that seem that they're just updating you on the tech, really is written to persuade, right? And to get people on side for this beast technology, right? And this is, again, MOTB. This is a prophetic event, right? And a lot of groups in Israel are not talking about this, but this absolutely is what GMS have been saying from time that it is. So it says precision neuroscience is making brain charagmas safer, smarter, and reversible, right? And we know according to the scriptures, there's judgment for it, right? So we'd say it's not safe, right? Smarter. Let's go into the word smart real quick. Okay. All right, smart verb. Be painful, right? So maybe it is smarter, right? Smart, painful, severe, stinging, causing a sharp pain, right? And there's going to be a lot of pain that's pushed out upon a lot of people from the Lord due to taking, right, this device, which is against the scriptures. Okay. It says brain researchers have relied on devices called microelectrode arrays for decades, but the technology behind those tools is increasingly outdated. Okay, so the first time that a charagma was put in a man's hand was in 1998. Okay, which is 25 or so years ago. So that you have to understand, technology advances rapidly. And whatever's on the market for the general public at one time, you best believe behind closed doors in government, in higher echelons of society, there's more advanced technology still developing. Okay, so the MOTB, you best believe they've improved on this, they've improved on that, they've swapped this out, they've switched that out. So they're getting more cunning with the devices. Okay, it says precision neuroscience is building a modern alternative that's not only an order of magnitude better, but far less invasive to put in. So a lot of people, rightly so, are gonna buck up against the MOTB initially, right, and find it distasteful, that it's invasive, that it's okay, yeah, it's cool for convenience. So that's where I believe they'll push out the brain one to bring back sight to the blind, bring back the ability to move, and people that are paralyzed, so on and so forth, and they can use it as a demonization campaign to say anyone going against it is anti-science, is anti-progression. They want people to be upset, they want people to be sad, they want people to be mourning. These prophets of doom. So it's going to be used to demonize the children of the Lord. Okay, it says with a newly raised $41 million in the bank, they're all set to embark on the complex path to market, right? So it's telling you there's nothing but a product, right? And people, if someone's got a product, they're out for profit, right? And it tells you in the scriptures, the love of money is the root of all evil. So don't think just because people are pushing it out, and telling you the benefits, they're doing it from a deceptive standpoint, which it talks about. Revelation 13 and 16. In fact, where are we? Revelation 13 and 14 says, this is talking of the 11th horn, right? Or the second beast to come up in Revelation 11. So Revelation 13 verse 11, which talks about, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. So when you go into another beast, the first beast is coming out of what? The sea. Okay, and it tells you what the sea is in Revelation 17 and 15, of peoples, tongues, and multitudes, so on and so forth. So the first one in Revelation 13 and 1, the beast rising up out of the sea, would go back to the pagan Roman Empire as that fourth beast. And then the beast to come up after that was again that 11th horn, right, that came out of the pagan Roman system, right? So Anglo-American Empire, the E Empire, however you want to phrase it, is nothing more than a revival of the pagan Roman Empire. Why is it called a revival? Because it was wounded unto death, right, by a sword and did live. So you had the time that Jake crept up in the Roman rulership. So Rome, although Rome still existed, it wasn't the same Roman people. So it's like it was put on pause for a while. So Revelation 13 and 11. And I beheld another beast, so in addition to the pagan Roman Empire, coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Now the 2 horns like a lamb represent the 2 political factions. Right, so in the pagan or ancient Roman Empire, you had the plebeians and the patricians. Right, so the plebs, and that's a less common nowadays, but it's like a derogatory term, or is used as a derogatory term for a working class person, or a person of less economic riches. Okay, pleb and then patrician, so you get the term patriarch. Right, so the plebs would line up with the Labour Party in Babylon the Great, or the Democratic Party, the Labour Party in the UK. They have similarities. And the Conservatives in the UK are Tories, and the what do you call them now? Republicans in Babylon the Great. So it's modelled after the same system. And he spake as a dragon, sorry. Going to that word is dracon, like a serpent, because he is that serpent. He's the serpent of the Garden of Old. It's talking about a lineage, right? And you have to understand reincarnation. These spirits keep coming back. That's why you have very similar events coming upon the earth. Verse 12, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, right? Because he exercised all the power of what first beast? The first beast will be that pagan Roman Empire, right? So it's patterned after the same manner. It says, and causeth the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. All right, and he's got many examples of that. Right, he has been given a sword. Right, it was his blessing. If you go to Genesis 27, verses 39 and 40, Isaac, who's the father of Jacob and Esau, gave a blessing unto E, that he would have the fatness of the earth, the oil of the earth, and he would be blessed with the sword. Right, by his sword he will live. So E has gone round and he's conquered the earth. He's even taken peace from the earth, as the scripture said, with that same very sword, or very same sword. Okay, so it's fire, and the sword just means the military potential, or the weapons, right? So a sword, if you read in the scriptures, I guess a ICBM could be a sword, right? It talks about the Lord's sword being bathed in heaven, right, and coming down upon Idumea. A bullet could technically be a sword, and what does a sword do? It cuts, it divides, same way a bullet. I said, just because you read a word talking about an ancient, for an arrow, certain times you're reading the scripture about an arrow. Well, ICBMs today, when they malfunction, they're called a broken arrow. Okay, so there's certain similitudes in the scriptures you'll read about, locusts. The John the Revelator didn't have 21st century terms to describe things that he saw in these visions. Verse 12 said, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth, and them that dwell therein, to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Right, so the deadly wound was healed going into the time of the Renaissance. What does Renaissance means? It means rebirth. Right, and if you go into the history, that's when the people who are in rulership today began to start taking back their rulership from when Jake crept up. You can get into a lot of the icons of the Middle Ages. right? You had something called iconoclasm, the destroying of a lot of religious art. And a lot of them would have dark-skinned people, brown-skinned people, woolly hair. And it's like, well, why would there be so much art of that? If there's that much remaining, and you can go into it and see that there was many images destroyed, it stands to reason that there must have been a lot, right? If that was all that they could, if that was what still remains, and we know there was a lot removed, it hints that there was a heavy presence of dark-skinned people ruling over Europe during the Middle Ages or the Dark Ages, hence why you get that name. Because they make out like the Dark Ages, there was no literature, there was none of this. Yeah, there was, but he wasn't coming out with it. Deadly wound was healed again, the Renaissance, rebirth. Read verse 13. Verse 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. You go into the word image, is the word in Greek icon. It's where you get the term icon. Right? If you go on your desktop on your computer, tippy tap, you open it up, you've got Google Chrome, you've got My Documents, you got this, you got that. On your desktop, you got little icons, so pictures. We'll go into the word icon, or icon. Then we'll get back into this article real quick. So Revelation 13, and let's go into this word image, icon. So there's an image, figure, likeness, an image of the things, in brackets, the heavenly things, used with the moral likeness of renewed men to the Most High, the image of the Son of the Most High, into which true Christians are transformed, is likeness, not only to the heavenly body, but also to the most holy and blessed state of mind, which Hamashiach possesses. It is the image of one in whom the likeness of anyone is seen. Okay, so the likeness of Rome, the pagan Roman Empire, is definitely seen in Babylon the Great. Now the pagan, or Rome, what came out of Rome? What language came out of Rome? Latin. Okay, in America, the United States went out and pushed military out upon a lot of people, put bases here, bases there, to forward their agenda. Okay, and the likeness, even in that, what language is spoken from Babylon the Great? Primarily English, Spanish. They're all Romance languages that came out of Rome, right? The writing system, these characters which we see, the font, if you like, not necessarily the font, but the characters, is known as the Roman script or the Latin script. Right, so when you have Roman numerals, they're written in quote unquote English, right? These, let's see, that's a Roman numeral, the eyes. 2, 3 here, like you see there, that would technically be an Arabic numeral, right? Because there was a heavy Arabic influence on maths, so on and so forth. But E is not going to push this out, and a lot of our people were Moors. A lot of our people were caught up in Islam. Right, so don't just think because it's Islamic, it goes back to Ishmael, or it goes back to a different people. Our people have made a lot, a big impact. But again, that's covered up, especially by E, to push out his agenda and forward him being the God of the earth. He has a God mindset. So BII says applied to man on account of his power of command, to Hamashiach on account of his divine nature and absolute moral excellence. All right, so the image, going back into this now. Where we are. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, they should make an image to the beast, right? So a likeness, which had a wound by the sword and did live, right? So his likeness there would be his system, his philosophy, doctrines, ideologies, right? Which had the wound by the sword and did live, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. All right, so they've got the power with the sword to push out an agenda through violence. But then anyone questions their authority, anyone questions whether their rulership has been righteous, then we are so-called, disrupting, being unpeaceful, having so-called hate speech. Imagine you get put in slavery, and say, well, this man put me in slavery. And when you say that, that's a bit mean, that's a bit harsh. A lot of time we recall, and even Jake's in the world, recall what E has done systematically, historically, and Jake is painted out to be the bad guy. Jake is made out to be the devil. Which Jake went off, we all went off as a nation holistically. That's how we find ourselves on the bottom, under this man. But, what does it say? I was so displeased with the heathen how does it say? And then I really will. We'll hit verse 16, 17, we'll get back in the article. Right. Zechariah, chapter 1, verse 15. And I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased, and they helped forward the affliction. Okay. So E has always been, contrary unto us. When the Babylonians came and took us down, who was it that was jumping for joy and helping take us down? It was E, which gives off the am I my brother's keeper spirit, which again, people keep coming back, spirits keep coming back, the evil twins, right? The woman's seed, the woman's offspring, which is all that means. A woman conceives seed of a man, therefore it becomes her seed, her offspring as well, versus the seed of the serpent, right? Cain, Abel, Jacob, Esau, right? You have repeating patterns. Let me speed it up now. Revelation 13 and 16, and he causeth all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. That word for mark is charagma, which means a physical, etched thing. Says, no man might buy or sell save either at the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Right, so it's going to be a global system that comes through the craft, right, the deceit of E. That's another power he's got, the witchcraft of words. So go through this. It says, in order to understand what's going on in the brain, sometimes an EEG or MRI from outside it just isn't enough. You need to really get in there. Implanted electrodes have been used for this purpose for a long time, and arrays of them in formation are used to collect information from multiple points within the cortex at the same time. It says, but while an electrode array, a couple dozen strong, is invaluable in a research setting, it simply isn't enough for something like a functional brain-computer interface. The information density is too low for the patient to say control a prosthetic limb, or move a cursor on the screen. 2 seconds. And you can't just add more electrodes, because each one pierces the brain tissue and necessarily causes a small amount of damage. Going from an array with 100 to an array with 1,000 will cause 10 times the damage. All right, so they're telling you in that this is very invasive. Now, of course, they're going to tell you how much safer and how much it's improved, but inevitably, of course, there's damage. And I'll tell you another part of the damage, of the danger. Revelation 14 and verse 9 says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, right, so his system, and receive his mark, his charagma, in his forehead or in his hand, right, it doesn't say left, right, take it in your elbow. Just if you try and be smart, all right, cool, I'll take it in my shoulder, I'll take it in my knee, I'll take it in my thigh. Let's see if the Lord saves you. Trying to be slick, trying to find loopholes. Well, it says right hand, forehead. Hand or forehead. If you take it, that's on you. But the most common ones are going to be that convenience, as it seemingly is how they're pushing the one on the hand, and the more medical, or the more quote-unquote necessary, rather than convenience, rather than, oh, this is cool, but it's something for necessary to bring back the senses, or quality of life of certain peoples. But again, it's through a deceitful method. Verse 10, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up for ever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Okay, so there's going to be a heavy judgment. All right, there's going to be a lot of the C words, the disease, of mutated cells, the C word there. A lot of that is going to be caused. And they may say, oh, well, this is an unknown side effect. This is rare in people. They always have to come with a reassurance. Let's get this as well. Psalm 55 and verse 21, verses 20 and 21, said, he hath put forth his hands against us, such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant, and he is known for that. Among the northern tribes, the so-called Native Americans, there was a proverb that says pretty much the white man speaks with a forked tongue. What has a forked tongue? A serpent. So say one thing, mean another. Say one thing, mean another, and do something completely other. So he's an ultimate strategist. Right? He's a man of war as well, but on a carnal level. So he's gonna get shown who's boss when the Most High, who the true man of war, sends his son. Right, the Most High, Yahawah, the King of Terrors, is gonna send his son, right, the Prince, to put down E's power. Psalm 55 verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Okay, so though he comes soft, crouching, you know what his intention is. Sirach 12 and 10 says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Now, so don't think just because he can put on a little act, disguise his wickedness, that it's gone. I can't see it, it doesn't exist. Now you have to understand patterns, behavioral patterns. Right, and here goes the advertisement part. It says, precision neuroscience aims to solve both of these problems with one major innovation, an ultra-thin electrode array that doesn't need to pierce the brain at all. Right, so this is not invasive, this is new. It says, yet can collect hundreds of times more data than traditional arrays. It says it's the brainchild, so to speak, of Dr. Ben Rappaport, a neurosurgeon by trade, who has spent decades working on the idea and co-founded the company in 2021. All right, going back decades, you'd have 1998, I believe, was the first time a man was implanted with a charagma. So this is not a new technology, but as the scriptures say, they shall go to and fro, knowledge shall be increased. Right, and that's on a lot of topics. Daniel 12 and 4, it says, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Right, so you're seeing knowledge of wickedness increasing. The love of many shall wax old. Why? Because iniquity shall abound, because unequalness, because sin is abounded and will abound. Right, that he previously was on the founding team at Neuralink, which, if you know anything about that, is Elon, right, Mr. Musk, his company, which is interested in, again, this brain technology. He had they're pushing out that they're gonna have human trials very, very soon. All right, and what does it say? I'll pull it. Revelation 12:12. Does it say? It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. All right, so they're really trying to speed this up. They're sort of in a sticky one because they don't want to push it too quick, because it's too obvious. At the same time, they know their time is running out. So that's why you're seeing every week, there's some new movement in this space, because this is a biblical prophecy. Right? There's too much that ties into this for this not to be prophecy. Right? So if any group is telling you the charagma is sleeping with another nation, women, this is nonsense. You have to go into the scripts and make it make sense. Which again, the scripture's set up in a way that if the Lord wants you to have a stumbling block, not understand a breakdown, it's absolutely set up in a way that you can take a precept, and take a precept here and make it look like it means that. But the elect shall not be deceived. So, it says this has been his life work. Says Michael Major, Precision CEO. His view has always been that even for basic functionality, you need high electrode density, and the tech has to be deployable in a minimally invasive way with no damage to the brain. Our hope is to scale to tens of thousands of electrodes, and you can't keep penetrating more and more tissue. All right, so this would be a benefit. Says the array they've developed is called layer 7, a reference to the fact that the cortex itself has 6 layers which the interface sits on top of. A single layer 7 array is a bit bigger than a thumbnail, but it has 1024 microelectrodes on it, producing a density hundreds of times better than what's in general use today. Right, so look, this is a new update, and this is what they're pushing out. There's a new and improved MOTB technology. Right, and I'm not going to get into everything in this article. It gets a bit technical, a bit nerdy. But what you can see is that there is great developments in this area. Lord willing, Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi. I'll remember to put the article in the comment section below. Right, so check that out if you're interested. It says, and they're designed to be used in arrays themselves, especially tiling across a region of the brain. Each array would provide a fast, accurate picture of the activity of the cortical regions it covers. Says these capabilities and specs are impressive, but it's perhaps even more important that the interface can be implanted without a craniotomy, open brain surgery. Instead, the super thin film-based layer 7 can be inserted through a small incision in the skull, still have brain surgery, to be sure, but a much less invasive technique that may not even require general anesthesia. It would attach to an exterior control unit, but the dimension and specs of that device would vary depending on various factors. I'll leave it there for that article because we covered, the marketing, and a lot of the features of this new charagma technology. Which watch out for this because this is very, very recent. At the end of January, at the time of recording this, that's at the year 2023. The hopeful year that all the prophecies come to pass. Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, right? The Lord Yahawah, in the name Yahawashi, willing. So I'll do that. We'll copy up. Right, and I'll try to leave that in the comment section below. I pray it's been edifying, exhorting. On to the next video, Lord willing. Giving all praises. Nawathan kal halalyam la Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, Shalom. Shalom.